Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm Nathan from the ebookreader.com. For this video, I'm going to do a quick comparison between Kindles and Kobos when it comes to dark mode for, white text on a black background. I've heard people saying that Kobos look better when it comes to dark mode, and I think I found out why. So I'll talk about that a little bit here, and I'll show some other models later. This is the Kobo Ellipsa 2e on the left, Kindle Scribe on the right. So first things first, they do dark mode differently. So on the Kindle, it will invert everything, including menus, the interface. So on Kobos, it only inverts the text. So anytime you leave your book, you're going to go back to the regular, mode. So yeah, that's one of the key differences straight off the bat on these two devices. Kindles, it'll invert your whole, library and everything, where Kobos, it will not, just inverts the text. So that's one of the key differences first off. Secondly, I tried matching the font sizes on here and the font type, using the same font type, try to get sort of an equal playing ground here. Kobo obviously has a lot more line spacing and font size settings, so I'll try to increase the font size just a little bit here, get a little bit better look at the screens. But I try to match them best as I could. The camera doesn't focus as well as it could at times, so with this dark mode thing, it has a little bit harder time focusing on it than usual, so you'll just have to kind of put up with that a little bit. But so anyway, you do have the font weight setting in Kobo. It's kind of more drastic than the Kindle, but that is one thing that will help the text look wider, is the bolder you have your text. Another thing here, so if you have images in your ebook, it won't invert the images. As you can see here, this book has some maps at the beginning of it, and yeah, it won't invert those usually, though sometimes I've come across instances where images do get inverted. But anyway, so here is the biggest difference between these two devices when it comes to dark mode. They handle brightness completely differently. As you'll see here, for some reason, Amazon limits the brightness level when you're using dark mode on a Kindle, so it doesn't get nearly as bright as the Kobo does. So even at max brightness, it's not really at max brightness on the Kindle. When you're using dark mode, it limits the maximum brightness. So where Kobo, it still goes max brightness, it still goes max warm light. So as you can see here, you get a very different look when you're using the warm light on the Kobo at max settings versus the Kindle in the front light as well. It's much brighter on the Kobo screen. So I think that's basically what people are seeing. They see that the white that stands out more on the Kobo, and I think that just comes down to the fact that their front light is brighter. So when the front light is brighter, it makes the text sort of stand out more. It makes it look whiter. So I think that's basically what it comes down to. Why people think Kobos have better dark mode than Kindles, because the white stands out more when you have the brightness turned up. But when you're using dark mode, cranking the brightness all the way up kind of defeats the purpose of using dark mode. So that's just kind of one thing to keep in mind. But when you switch back and forth on the Kindle in person, you can really tell that the brightness isn't going nearly as bright in dark mode as it does in regular mode. So I think that's basically the main difference, because when the front lights are turned off and the font sizes and boldness or settings are about the same, I don't really see a significant difference between one or the other. So now I've turned off the bright overhead lights. Camera's not focusing as well, but this is what it looks like with more of a regular ambient lighting comparison here. Again, not a huge difference, but let's switch over to some smaller models. Now we got the Kobo Clara 2e and the 2022 Kindle. They both have 300 ppi. So the difference with the other two is these Kobo Ellipsa only had 227 ppi and the Scribe has 300. So there's a significant difference in resolution, but you really can't notice it a whole lot, especially in dark mode. But these two, they both have a 300 ppi screen, so a little bit more comparable. But again, I don't see a big difference between one or the other. Personally, I don't use dark mode because I have astigmatism. White text on a black background is like the worst combination. But yeah, I know a lot of people do like using dark mode, and just kind of wanted to give a look here. So again, when you adjust the brightness on the Kindle in dark mode, it doesn't really do much. On the Kobo, it's significantly brighter. So right there, as you can see, the white text seems to stand out more on the Kobo. Makes it look, better. I think that's why people are saying that dark mode looks better on Kobos, just because you can crank the light up more. But again, that kind of defeats the purpose of the dark mode when you think about it. But you can also increase the boldness, and that kind of has a similar effect. As you can see, it almost gets close to the Kobo right there just by increasing the boldness, making the text wider again. All right, so that's been a look at dark mode on Kindles and Kobos and how they do things differently. Thank you guys for watching. Check out the ebook reader blog for all things related to e-readers. Have a good day. Goodbye.